What a day we have witnessed, people. The comeback in the 97th minute. People are moaning on Twitter about the extra minute that has been added, that I think as a neutral, it was fair and square. They tried to waste time, Bournemouth, but I think they are doomed for relegation and might be the game that win Arsenal the title. Man City, actually brilliant game against Newcastle, managed the game really well. Phil Foden back at his best, and Chelsea finally scoring goals. Only one, and they won against Leeds at home 1-0. And Spurs, the hole keeps getting bigger and bigger, and they fall down 1-0 at Wolves at the Molineux after a good performance, but a lapse of concentration, and they lose. I'm here with a big panel in the background: Gunnar Souls, Kurdish, Fatur, Chelsea, and also Sam to represent Man City. But you know what time is it for us? Big up everybody that is here. Make sure to hit that like button for me before I play the intro. So let's bring in the panel and talk to them to see. Of course, Gunnar Solskjaer, I know what he's going to say. Mikel Arteta, the best coach in the history of football, and this Arsenal team is the best to ever play football. But let me bring them in right away. Welcome to the stream, guys. Kurdish and Gunnar Souls, absolutely phenomenal to be with you all. Everybody in the chat, you know what it is. First thing first, you hit that like button. I need the likes to go up to 50 likes right away. We got 110 people already watching us. I need the likes at least to 50s. At least show me some respect. I'm here. We're trying to bring you content. So hit that like button for me. And Gunnar Souls, welcome to the comeback.
Hi guys, first of all, it's a Saturday evening and we're giving you the entertainment. So the least you can do is subscribe and like. Come on, guys. So yes, let's get that out the way. But yeah, incredible day today, man. I'm actually really happy. Obviously you've got the boxing on right now as well. Then you've got, John Jones comeback fight. So yeah, man, it's a good lined up weekend. Of course, you got one of the biggest fixtures, not even in footballing terms, but one of the biggest sporting fixtures you can think of in terms of United and Liverpool, the numbers that brings in. So yeah, man, it's an exciting weekend. I'm sure we'll dive into it.
Absolutely. Kurdish, first time we'll meet, my friend. How are you? Big FSG out on his chat. Every time I see a fan of a club that is not doing well, I see kick the owners out. But hey, you're ready for tomorrow, my friend. You're the underdog tomorrow. Do you believe that? Like every other Liverpool fan?
No. Look, it's Manchester United. Thanks for having me on first and foremost, bro. But yeah, it's Manchester United, and it's the one game in the season where I feel like the players will always be up for it. Even when they were doing all they were, winning everything, and I was a child, it was still the one game where we were still competing with them, and the rivalry is so intense. It's full of passion. It's full of hatred. It's real tribalism at its core, and I expect the boys to be up for it. I'm a big believer of law of averages, and law of averages would indicate we're due to win this game, or it would indicate a draw. However, it doesn't show that we would lose. So I don't feel like an underdog, but I don't feel confident either. I'm neutral right now.
And Fatur, you were at the game, my friend, were you?
Yeah, I was at the game. I just came back actually from the game, and yeah, I was happy. Feel a bit of relief after let's say almost two months without a victory, and just a bit of a kickback and a bit of
I can hear it in your voice. You were at Dortmund as well. I saw your Twitter and stuff, right? You were in Germany. I feel the relief, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you played okay. Still missing tons of chances, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that last 25 minutes, they were not very enjoyable to watch. But hey, a scrappy win is a win anyway. So it is what it is. We're still in 10th anyway. So let's see on Tuesday.
Big up everybody on the chat and also our members. D1 is here. Sid, of course, is here with us. D1 with us as well. All the members here. Sophia, of course, one of our loyal members as well. Jamie Person, Marie is here with us. All these members are tuning in. Olo, of course, a big one. Always the first to call in the call-in show. I'm going to start with Arsenal and say that I have about 15 notes in the game. My notes kept changing in this game. I didn't think Arsenal were brilliant. I think they were wide open defensively. It could have been 2-3-0 to Bournemouth, goodness souls. However, champions are champions when they come back like this at home with the crowd never stop supporting. Of course, I'm watching on TV, but they never stopped supporting. I thought that you tweeted at 2-0 down, stop the jokes now. Let's come back and win this game.
That's exactly it. I told you, man. This Arsenal team is sadistic. Do you know what what they're doing? They're emotionally toying with their oppositions. They're giving them hope. They're giving the fan base hope. And then they're like, fuck you now. You, man, we gave you the belief. We've done it to Aston Villa, and now we've done it to Bournemouth. It's just what we do now. You just gotta, like I said, man, like the famous words of Eric Ten Hag when he took the United job, eras come and go. And now you're entering a new dawn of football. Welcome to the Mikel Arteta era. It has officially begun. What you're seeing is a new era of dominance. This is what it's going to be. Get used to it. Arsenal are always going to be now in the conversations for league titles. And next season, when we're in that Champions League, I can't wait. Because let's be real, even if we're looking at social media posts, when we're looking at players up and coming, like even Rafael Leao, even they're taking notice of what's happening at Arsenal. And that's incredible. Because from where we were just a few seasons ago, even last season, people are like, oh, you've bottled top four, you've bottled this, you've bottled that. And to be able to turn it around in such a short time, to be competing with the Man City side that have dominated the Premier League, it's incredible. Look, people like Haaland come in, they're gonna walk the league. They're gonna destroy the league. This is gonna become a one-horse race. And Arsenal, out of all the teams, stepped up. We were getting all of the shit. Oh, but you do know other teams are gonna improve. You do know this is gonna happen. You do know this is gonna happen. We were like, nah, we're focusing on us. We're doing our thing. They can do their thing. And look at it. It's brilliant. Look, we were 2-0 down. I know people had those draft tweets ready. They wanted to clown me because I was like, nah, we are in the era of we never say die. Until that final whistle, we can still win. And that's what we've shown today. The dying embers of the game. We went and won that. And guess who done it? Reece Nelson. A guy that no one rates, a guy that no one looks at, comes on, gets the assist and scores the winner. This is what you're dealing with. Players are coming off the bench after long-term injuries and performing like that. I don't know what they're doing in training, but whatever it is, keep it a secret. Don't fucking do these all or nothings and expose it because it's working. And this is all without Gabriel Jesus, by the way, yet to come back. Thomas Partey came back after an injury. And you know what? Yes, there were moments in that game. There were tactical tweaks in that game that I wasn't impressed with. I wasn't happy with, especially with the way we set up for that kickoff for us. What was it? A 9-second goal. Terrible.
Was that a joke?
Absolutely disgraceful. It was a joke.
Yeah.
That left-hand side. Was there a left-hand side? I couldn't see it. So yes, there's disappointments. Yes, there's things that we need to look at and go, we need to fix those up because recently we've been conceding some stupid goals. Yes, we're coming back, but we should never be in a position to be coming back against a Bournemouth. We shouldn't be in a position to come back against Aston Villa. We should be the ones in the lead, and they should be the ones chasing us. So yes, that does need to improve. However, the never say die attitude. And the biggest credit is to that are Odegaard and Zinchenko today, because they were the ones every time there was a throw-in, every time there was a free kick, telling the fans, raise your fucking voices. Let's make this an atmosphere. Aaron fucking Ramsdale. I can't describe how good this guy's been for us. single-handedly saving us once again. If it wasn't for him, we would have been 4-0 down by the first half. Absolutely incredible. And you know what the best thing is? None of these players were looking at each other and going, it's your fucking fault we're down. They were like, nah, we're a team. We do it together. We concede together, make a mistake together. Not a single person to blame for it. And that's what I'm starting to like. Like I said, I was saying it last season, I was saying it the season before, the thing that Arteta's been doing is changing the culture of the club. I love Arsene Wenger, but the way he left the club was in a shit show. It was a retirement home. It was for players to come in and just see out their big payday. But now you come in and you fucking compete. And that's what I'm loving. And, you know, like, I know I've gone a bit overboard. I know I've said a few things that, you know, people are going to sit there and question. But
yes, in the chat.
Think about it, man.
You
like,
see in the chat.
You know what it is? This will be my first league title I'll actually remember every emotion of. Because the Invincible, I was like 4 or 5, so I don't remember it. I didn't even know it was an achievement until I was older. So this is going to be the first time I get to see Arsenal actually win something. I remember every moment.
Sam, we welcome Sam as well. Sam, but when we welcome Sam, guys, please hit that like button for me. 150 of you here, and we're not even on 100 like Sam. I'm not going to talk about Man City yet.
How we doing?
I'm okay. How are you today? Did you feel hopeful at some point in this game that Arsenal will lose point? Or were you like, no, these guys got it. They're going to come back and win it?
How's the feeling? So I was following it today, slightly hungover after a wedding yesterday. Driving back, listening to the scores coming on the radio, and you know, 1-0. I was just sort of waiting for Arsenal to come back. I'd got my fantasy football team full of Arsenal players ready to at least get some points and sort of ease the burden of a 5 or 6-0 win to Arsenal today. And then they went 1-0 down. I was still expecting to come back, and then when they went 2-0 down, I thought, okay, that's a bit more interesting. But they'll probably maybe get a goal or two back. And then it got to 2-2. You're sort of waiting for the third, and then I put the Soccer Saturday on here, and I was watching that, and then that 97th minute winner goes in, and it was a bit of a killer, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, it was quite painful. And then in that moment, you do think, you know, maybe this is going to be Arsenal's year with things like that happening.
I want to get,
but
go ahead.
You know, we're a few hours later now, so there's a bit more reflection, maybe a bit more kind of a two-way version of looking at things.
Yeah, really. That's why we do this show later, so you can actually think about it without reactions, and because, you know, like people are flying after the game, we're winning, we're doing this, we did this, but now people can actually digest the game, see what actually happened and all this stuff. And I want to get Kurdish, since you're a Liverpool fan, you have been the anti-City for years now. Now there's a new anti-City, and there's a new anti-City. I will call until this guy Pep Guardiola leaves, I would call everybody anti-City, to be honest. For some reason, this guy, he's in transition, new players are not performing. He's still only 5 points behind Arsenal. You have been in that position many, many times, Kurdish, with your club. Do you see Arsenal going all the way to the end? Do you see them actually winning the race at the end? Or do you see them falling short?
Absolutely not. I was just going to ask somebody in the comment section if they can just clip up the first 4 minutes of what Gunnasaurus said, if possible, just so we can have it at the end of the season. There is, because I am strongly of the belief they will be fighting for third with their life. I think they'll finish in the top 4, but I think they will be fighting for third with everything they have.
What are your evidence? What is your evidence?
Well, let me, by being in a title race with City for 4 seasons in a row and only winning once, unfortunately. I just think when you come up against Man City, it's about the finest margins, and it's about the players of the bench, especially towards the latter stages of the season. I look at us when we've gone 1 point or so, and it's always been towards the last few stages where teams just start to go really deep and just really go for that 1 point. Man City have players off the bench that can come off and make that difference, because the intense style that any team plays, or the original play, it almost goes out the window in the last 5 to 6 games of the season. It's all about just getting the wins in, and Man City have the players to make that difference and really influence the game. Arsenal will falter. It will get to a point where they have 6 to 7 games left, and they will start dropping points, because the intense way they've been playing, they will not be able to keep playing that all season, and they just don't have enough of the bench to make that change. Now, that's not a criticism of Mikel Arteta. I think he's done a fantastic job. It's not a criticism of this Arsenal 11, because I think, bank for bank, they could go up against anyone, 11 for 11. But when you're talking about going up against this City team, where you lose out by 1 or 2 points, it's about the bench, and the difference in the bench between City and Arsenal it's
For
night
you
and
to
day.
say this today, Kurdish, for you to say this today, when Ben White came off the bench, scored, and Reece Nelson came off the bench, assisted, for you to, like, the
This unscored, by the way.
audacity to say this today, when they
They're
reached
using
out to the bench and actually won the game from the
Yeah, but it was
bench.
Bournemouth today. It was Bournemouth today. They're not going to be able to do that against the Fulham. They don't have the quality of the bench. This is what we go back to, and I hate to say it, but it's Man City. Their bench has 100 million, 150, 200 million each player off the bench. I remember the season we lost at one point. We brought on Shaqiri and they brought on Leroy Sané. How am I supposed to compete with Leroy Sané's pace off the bench for 15 minutes? This is what I'm dealing with. You're bringing me a world-class player that makes it into most 11s off the bench, and I just, like I say, it's no criticism to Arsenal. I just don't think they'll have it.
I think you have more trust in City than how they actually play this year. I think this year it's not the same City as we've seen. Fatur, I want to bring you into this chat, and being the London rivals, of course, I'm sure you're not happy to see Arsenal winning all these, because nobody expected them to win that many points at this stage of the season. You're seeing this Arsenal team fighting for each other. You're comparing them to your team, the coaches with the players. There's no fallouts. Nothing is happening. You see the environment. You can tell when they were losing, everybody was still talking. There is no blame, and I can see what Soz is saying. You see the difference. Do you see this, the environment of a team that can go seasons like this? I'm not saying maybe they will come second this year, but do you see them going seasons like this with the same performances and keeping up with the big boys that spend way more money than them? City, Chelsea, Man United, they spend more money than Arsenal. Do you see that happening?
I wonder if, I can see it happening, but I wonder if whether Arsenal can sustain having this emotional highs in a season. I feel like, as a neutral and as a rival as well, the adrenaline is very tasking, and I feel like it's kind of risk them burning out when it comes to that latter stage of the season. And the emotional stability is the important aspect to create the sustainability in results and the performance in the league. And the counterpoint is that it might be these kind of results that only motivate them even more. And I guess it all goes down to the mentality of the players and how they handle it. And wins like this, it will keep them motivated and confident. It feels like I'm watching the Liverpool in 2020. The difference is that Man City were quite poor in that season, and it was clear before the lockdown break that Liverpool were going to win the league, and Arsenal have a lot of less margin for error. And another thing as well, like I've heard people keep using that emotional being used as a negative for a team in the first place, but most people would see this as a purely motivation for them to believe they can go on and win it all.
Someone corrected me and said Arsenal spend in the last 5 years more than Man City. I agree, but I don't see them spending, like, I don't see the model of Arsenal spending the same as Chelsea. Liverpool, they spend money, Liverpool, but I don't see like Arsenal going signing like the likes of Haaland. They don't sign that. Even the likes of Casemiro, I didn't see him going to Arsenal if Arsenal asked for him. But anyway, I want to go back to the game and talk about the game a little bit from a tactical point of view, the defensive, how Arsenal souls, you couldn't break the defense at all. It took a set piece and actually conceded a lot of chances, especially in the first 60 minutes of this game. Do you see Arteta not preparing well for this game, especially the start? Do you blame Arteta for that 60 minutes of Dyer passing left and right, not creating chances, and also getting hit on the counter many times. In this game, I saw Arteta kind of like, okay, you're not prepared. You really took it easy from the beginning. It looked like the players were relaxed starting the game.
No, it's just the way we kind of approach games. Is we've got a plan, we stick to it, we're confident within our plan A, and we just keep going and we keep going and we keep going. And yes, it wasn't a great first half in terms of trying to break that low block, but we eventually did it, and that's what you've got to do. How you get those goals? Sometimes there's certain games you just have to win. Whether it's ugly, whether it's nice, it doesn't matter. There's going to be games where you like look at Everton, the way we scored, beautiful intricate, passes and opening them up and carving them open. Bournemouth, it was a little bit more ugly and a bit more scrappy, but you score how you score. You don't get to choose. Beggars can't be choosers in those moments, and it's the belief, it's the sheer belief and the sheer pressure we were putting on them. Like that's what made me believe. That's what made me tweet at halftime and said to people, "Don't write us off. Believe we're going to come back into this." And that's what happened, because it's quite strange, because the way that Arteta shapes us, anytime the opposition gets the ball, we pretty much win it back within 10 seconds. And I'm not saying it always happens. I'm just saying the majority of the time, what happens is one pass and we've got the ball back. And yes, today we were vulnerable to the counters and we kind of committed a lot of numbers forward. But I feel like you have to do that to kind of dysfunction their shape and stretch the pitch a little bit. And Arteta tried a few things in terms of bringing Fabio Vieira into the lineup, with the way he used Trossard and Martinelli as kind of two strikers at some points, and he was kind of tweaking the shape as he kind of went along in this game. So when we're looking at it, I mean, Zinchenko, I think also Tomiyasu didn't help. It was like he was inverting Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, and I was like, you do know they're playing a low block. Why are you inverting both your fullbacks? Why are you making more numbers in the middle when you need to be stretching this pitch? And I think he quickly realised that. And if we were talking about this game last season, that Ben White substitution would never have happened, because he would have been stubborn to his plan A. He would have been stubborn to the way he was playing and approach this game. But he realised that, no, we need Tomiyasu to be overlapping, or we need that fullback to be overlapping and creating spaces. And that's exactly what he did. He brought Ben White on with the specific instruction, just staying wide, allow Saka and Odegaard to come in, because they can break this and they've got a lot more neater dribbling, so they can break that low block, draw the centre backs, and get a foul, get free kicks, get what you need to do, and just break them down. Look, low blocks are one of the hardest things to play. I mean, even Man City will tell you, Liverpool will tell you, when you've got the respect of the league, it is one of the hardest games you're going to play, because there's no method to breaking them. It's kind of just do what you need to do. And there's no plan, because you've got 10 men in the fucking box at most of the time. So what can you do? Like, you can't create the spaces where you need to shoot. So what we did was, for about 20 minutes in the second half, we just shot. And it kind of, in my opinion, made Bournemouth second guess, because then what you started seeing was a fake shot into a pass, and they were like, oh, okay. And that opened up the spaces for Reece Nelson, that opened up the spaces for Martinelli, because they were like, are they going to shoot or are they going to pass? So we did things. It took time. It should never have been the case, but we did what we needed to do. I don't think there was any tactic. This was just one of those scrappy wins where you can't really analyze it. You just got to appreciate it for what it is. And I think the mentality is the key thing here, because Partey made a mistake that got them 2-0 up, and immediately the guy scores. However he scores, whether it's an open net, he could have been goal hanging, I don't really care. The fact that he went and rectified his mistake, and then the team started believing, pushing, that's what won us today. I don't think it was our ability. I think it was just a raw desire that no matter what happens, we're coming away with 3 points. And you could tell that with Zinchenko and Odegaard riling up the fans, telling them, get fucking behind us. Because when you spoke about it, where our fans were behind them, from the TV, it didn't look like that until Zinchenko and Odegaard told them to make some fucking noise. And that's when the stadium started erupting. And when we got that first goal, when we got the second goal after that was like, this is now the theatre. This is now the place you don't want to come. And that's when it went loud. So for me, I can't break it. There is no. I love breaking tactically, but I don't really know what to say. I mean,
There
Ben
was
White.
nothing in this game other than enjoying the comeback, to be honest.
Yeah, It's just the way it is. Like, I mean, even Man City will tell you sometimes tactics go out the window and you just do what you need to do.
Aston Villa game. Sam, it's a good segue to Man City today against Newcastle. Everybody expected Man City to win. However, I saw today in individual quality, one of the things today that happened is that Man City exceeded their XG. But before I do that, Alhambra, I see your super chat. It's about Chelsea. When we come to Chelsea, I will put it on the screen because it's absolutely a brilliant super chat. Thank you for that. Sam, today it was all about individual brilliance. You exceeded your XG. You're scoring 2 goals, but actually XG was 1.3. I thought Newcastle were neck to neck. They tried to play their football, but again, Phil Foden today, like he did in the midweek, proved that his individual quality is absolutely brilliant and he can win games. That goal, yes, it was a deflection. However, it was him and Kevin De Bruyne who opened up the space and him driving inside the 18. This is the Phil Foden that we missed this season. And I saw Man City, I saw the same individual quality that I saw from Man City last year, which is like you can open up defense just by one player dribbling through that defense. Did you see that today, or you thought that you controlled the game and it was an easy win today for you?
I think they controlled large parts of the game. I think there was a period in the second half where Newcastle were playing well and felt like they were well within the game. They missed a couple of decent chances, but I think this has been an important week for City because it's been an important week for Phil Foden. I think he did a really interesting post-match interview in the week after the FA Cup win against Bristol City, where he got a couple of goals there, and he was talking about finally being sort of free of a lot of foot and ankle problems he's had this season, and you could tell that something kind of wasn't quite right with him, and that has kind of hampered him, I think, for a lot of this season without a lot of people maybe even knowing. So it was quite interesting for him to kind of reveal a bit of that in the interview because he's usually very guarded, doesn't give a lot away at all ever in the media. So for him to come out and say it was one of the lowest moments in his career the last couple of months was sort of very telling. And he looks free again now. He looks like he's playing with a confidence, and he's not limited by his body or anything else at the moment. And I think if we are going to get anywhere near to winning this league this season, then Foden's going to be a huge part of what we do, and that was a big positive from today. It was one of those wins where kind of almost opposite to Arsenal, where we just got the job done, and now we can tick that one off and move on to the next game. There was no sort of no emotion wasted, no fuss, just kind of got on with it. And we need more of these wins because we haven't had many straightforward wins this week, well, since the international break, since the World Cup, where we've just got a clean sheet, and it's been nice and straightforward. So yeah, it's been a good week for that. So I'm hoping we can kind of carry on building, because I think the last time I spoke to you, I think it was maybe just before the Arsenal away game, and we were still suffering from that inconsistency despite beating Arsenal. So now we just got to try and put a run together and see where it puts us, because Arsenal have still got some really good fixtures now. So in my head, we've just got to keep the gap as it is before we get to April, and then it gets really interesting.
Kev Loaf with the super chat saying, Sam, you should be sourcing candidates, mate. Yeah, that's super chat. Thank you, Kev.
Can I legit ask you a question as well? Because I was at the pub watching that City game, and my first thought about that lineup is that you had Foden on the left wing, and then Mahrez on the right wing, and then Bernardo Silva is more of a right centre mid. But the more I look at the lineup, like who would be marking, and also combined with the minutes they play, it's like, for me, it kind of makes sense that why you put Grealish and Foden on the right, because I feel like you go into that formation 4-2-1-3, and then instead of you having Akanji on the right and Laporte, you literally went on. That I was thinking about that match is that Anthony Gordon for Newcastle, it's not as fast as Maximin, but what you've done so far that really like wowed me a bit is that you're able to focus more on the right wing. It's that overlap. So you could see Almiron literally trying to drift centrally to help the left wing. But Man City over time that I saw in the game today, it's like you guys favoring to overload that left wing side and then switch to the right wing on the counter attack, due to the fact that because Trippier was was playing the higher up the pitch when Newcastle are in possession. That also impressed me a lot today from Man City.
I think one of the interesting things that we did today was actually play more of like an orthodox, flatter-ish back four, with actual defenders in and actual positions, which doesn't always happen, for better or for worse sometimes. But yeah, to actually see Walker at right back and Akanji at left back for the most part was actually probably something Pep had in mind to deal with Newcastle. He probably thought that Newcastle were going to play St Maximin, to be honest, which St Maximin gave us such problems in the reverse fixture at St James's. I think he kind of set up expecting that, and then obviously Kyle Walker against Anthony Gordon. At the moment, Anthony Gordon's career is a bit of a no contest. So
yeah. I thought actually today, like, Newcastle created chances just from some mistakes from Man City, to be honest, not covering.
Yeah.
Nathan Ake was very good. I thought Akanji controlled Callum Wilson really, really well until that moment where he just was in the no man's land inside the 18. I thought Man City today were like, let's do the job, let's get it over with, let's win this game and put the pressure on Arsenal. And I think they did that. One of the people that impressed me today also was Rodri. Rodri was very good today, and he was back to his best, and that made the difference. Today, Haaland was good in the link-up play. He had an assist today. Makes a big difference for Man City when players are on, which is what Daps always say. Daps always say, if that Man City display their normal football that they play and not complicate things, we will win games. And I think this is exactly today. No complications, simple football, keep switching the ball. You won the game. You created a couple of chances and you won the game. It's as simple as that. Nathan Ake today deserves a lot of praise. I don't know what you guys think about that. Absolutely great. This guy has been improving, even going forward to support Grealish, something that I haven't seen in the last years from him. But now Cancelo's gone. He's stepping up. He's making that position his, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ake's been so well this season. Yeah, he's just got together a run of consistency where he's just found like a real high level week in, week out, and sometimes he's played centre back and sometimes he's played left back, and he's actually just excelling in both roles, and he's just Mr. Reliable right now. I wouldn't say he's like spectacular like Cancelo was, maybe not as exciting, not as many fans with Nathan Ake on the back of the shirt, but yeah, you can always count on him.
Would you say now, because I've been really impressed every time I've watched him this season, would you say if all your defenders are fit, he's now in that starting lineup?
Yeah, because they don't really have any left backs.
They have no left back, basically. They basically have no left back.
Rico Lewis?
No, it's not a left back. He's a right back. Rico Lewis actually, for me, is a defensive midfielder. He's actually a defensive midfielder for me. Rico Lewis is not even, I'm not sure if he's, I know he was brought up to be a right back, but every time I'm seeing him being an inverted midfielder, he's absolutely really, really well, to be honest, in the midfield. It's something that Zinchenko does for Arsenal, and I think it's just the way that the fullbacks are being bred in Man City, to be honest. You got to play fullback. You have to be inside the midfield, getting the ball from the defense, and that people, we still haven't reached the 150 likes. I need the likes to go up. It's underneath your live chat. It looks like this. It's free, and it looks like this. You can just hit it, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it helps us big time. Sam, Champions League is still the aim. Is that true? Leipzig is in 2 weeks. I know Man City fans want to say take one game at a time, but it's only 5 points. You cannot throw the league away. You're still hopeful to win the league, of course. Do you still think that you can win this league?
Yeah, I think so. I'm definitely not as confident as in previous years, but I feel like the bar that's going to be set in order to win the league this year is going to be a lot lower than it usually is. So yeah, I feel like when we come back after international break into April, that's when it's going to be, very interesting if we can. I always thought with this run of fixtures now where Arsenal have got, Palace at home and Leeds at home in these games, that if we can keep the gap at 5 points, and then we get to April, and then Arsenal have got Europa League. They've got to come to City. They've got to go to Anfield. They've got to go to St James's in the space of a few weeks. That's where it's gonna. That's where I think it's going to be decided for both teams when the European football will be there, or hopefully will be there for us, and probably will be for Arsenal as well to kind of contend with all the complications that comes with competing at that time of the year, where you're just trying to grind out results. So yeah, we've done it before. We do need to continue to play better and continue to get the job done like we have done today.
For some reason, Sam, people still believe that City will win the league. I don't know how.
City will win the league. I don't know why you're not so
No,
confident,
why
Sam.
is that funny no more? Like, I'm just curious.
Again?
They can win it. I'm not saying
No.
like,
People will put their money on City winning the league.
100%.
Like this is
100%,
something.
yeah.
It's impressive. It's for me. It's very strange. Why? I've seen Arsenal come like this game and then before. Like, guys, Arsenal were 8 points and now they're 5 points with all the trouble that we talked about. Like, we saw Arsenal hit a slump and they didn't win games, and it's the end of Arsenal and they're still 5 points ahead. Like, all of this, and City are still 5 points behind them. So I don't know why people are still believing that Man City have a better chance of winning the league, because Arsenal will have to go to City, because Arsenal will play Newcastle, but City still will have to play Chelsea, and City will have to play Arsenal as well. It goes both ways.
You know, City are one of the only few teams in the whole Premier League that have showed us they could put a row of 17 to 18 wins together. That's the difference. It's proven caliber, it's proven quality up against newcomers, and I'm always going to back the proven caliber. I always will. Always.
But you know what it is though? I understand history, and I understand that, you know, they can do it and they've shown they can do it. But reality is, this season, I mean, look, people can disagree, we can have a debate, that's what football's about. But I've not seen that. I don't see Man City putting that incredible run together. Now, of course, this is where Man City thrive. This is the part of the season where Man City become Man City. But I'm not going to lie. I mean, look, we're vulnerable. I've held my hands up to it. There are points in our sort of tactical tweaks that we need to make. I'm not saying we're perfect or that, you know, we're going to walk the league from this point onwards. But I see us being less likely to drop points than Man City. You know, Man City absolutely dominated Nottingham Forest and they nicked it. So, you know, there are times where I've looked at Man City and I've gone, okay, this, and this is why I say I'm not saying Arsenal are going to definitely win the league, even though I do believe, yes, it's pretty much won at this point because of how much we've done.
Souls, but there is no definitely in
But
football.
like with Man City, I'm just looking at it and I'm like, as much as people are going to look at us and go, we're going to drop points, Man City have dropped the stupidest points. Like, I don't even know why they've dropped points. Like, they were 3-0 down to Newcastle. Yes, they made that comeback, you know, but they shouldn't be in them situations. You know, Nottingham Forest, they lost to, like, the way they lost to United, they were in cruise control, and then all of a sudden,
They controlled the game against Brentford.
Yeah, like Brentford, and like it was just moments where you look at them and go, this just doesn't feel like Man City. Like, look, like I said, this is the point where they wake up, but I'm just saying they don't feel like that Man City. I've actually said it. Look, I know Man City hate this word, but they're in a transition. They're not used to playing with a Haaland or a striker, and we know Pep, when he has a striker, struggles, because even when he had Lewandowski at Bayern Munich, it wasn't the greatest. Yes, you could still see their style, you could still see his football, but it wasn't when he had like a David Villa, when he had like those false nines, when he has people who can drop into midfield. Haaland's starting to show that, but even when I see it, I'm like, bro, just stay up. Just don't embarrass yourself, because there are points where I'm like, this is not you. And look, people can come for me for saying that. I don't really care, but that's my opinion on it. Yeah. But I don't know, Sam, maybe you're different.
Before that, I want to get the super chat, Sam. Sorry, from Tailwood Studio. Right. Thank you for the super chat. He's saying, I think the argument in the chat now about the extra minute that me and Souls we talked about in the chat on WhatsApp.
Oh, I didn't show that. What happened there?
Man City fans have the shortest memory. They forgot in 2017 against Bournemouth, they scored the 97th minute goal when 5-minute extra time was given, but those clowns clearly won't mention this. I want to clear something out. I asked Gona Souls, and I went and I watched the stoppage time, all of it, the 6 minute. There was an exactly 58 minutes since Smith went to the ground till the referee started the game again. 58 58 seconds, and the goal was scored in the 58th second after the 95th minute.
Wow.
Waste
Destiny.
time now. Waste time now. Come on.
I'm serious. I did it because I saw this as a talking point on Twitter and on Instagram, and then I went to check it and I watched the 6 minutes, and it's exactly that. It's exactly this. So thanks for the super chat, Tillwood Studio. But let me, before Sam comes in, I'm gonna give you something that I haven't seen from City. City have not won 3 games in a row in the league since October. So for me to sit here and say, oh, now it's the time, this is speculations. It's not based on evidence. It's based on last season, and last season is different, as Sol says, that this season. Sam, do you see the same or no?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I definitely see both sides. I'm definitely not as confident as Kurdish, I don't think. But City fans generally aren't very confident. So that maybe doesn't say too much. But yeah, there's still quite a lot of unknowns about our team, I think, this season and how we've been playing. The Haaland thing has been, a conundrum in some senses. I think Pep's changed quite a lot, maybe too much. But actually, at the start of the season, we really came out of the blocks quite well. It's more been since the World Cup where actually things have been a bit rocky, and he's kind of changed maybe a bit too much. Maybe tried to go a bit too cautious at times as well. But it's just so many question marks about what makes this title race so interesting is that our potential to go the rest of the season and be brilliant is so high, and Arsenal's potential to completely drop off is also high. But how much are the two going to cross over? Are City going to reach that level and Arsenal going to drop off to the level that they could do? It's just such massive ends of the spectrum. So I mean, the moment I think we're favourites with all the bookmakers still, amazingly, even being 5 points behind. But I think that just goes to show people's confidence in City, especially at this time of the season, with the experience and the players that we've got, and also just like Kurdish said at the start, the quality, off the bench when we need it. I mean, if we bring someone like Julian Alvarez on today, or Bernardo came on and scored after 30 seconds, it's a little bit different and maybe a bit more sustainable, is probably the right word, than bringing on Reece Nelson and hoping he hits a left foot half volley from 25 yards in the 97th minute. That may not happen every week. That may not happen. Jorginho may or may not hit a strike from 30 yards, and it might not come off Martinez's back and go in. It may not be sustainable. So
but the same way, Callum Wilson
we've got to keep with that as well.
But again, it's small margins, yes. But today, like Joe Linton touches the ball, it goes in 1-1. Who knows what's gonna happen? Small margins like this, and also you don't win the league without luck. If you're unlucky, you won't win the league. To be honest. Olu is for super chat as well. Thank you, Olu, one of our members, of course. Regular callers is saying also rules are minimum of X minutes. Learn that. So yeah, the referee at his discretion can add whatever he sees. To be honest. So now, the last thing about City is, I think I keep saying this. If the bench comes to life, I see City, and I wanted to say that if the bench and the players, the whole squad plays to the level, I see City winning maybe every game or most games until the end of the season. The City's problem were the bench comes in, some players like not performing well, like Kevin De Bruyne, he had to sit on the bench to play well today, and Bernardo Silva had the problem.
He didn't play well today.
Huh?
De Bruyne was shocking today.
In the beginning only. I think in the beginning. I had in my notes that he missed
and then he got hooked, didn't he, after like
four passes, and then after this. So the movement for Foden goal, that channel was not going to be open if he didn't take 2 players and ran inside the 18. This is what Kevin.
I agree. That is the player's job in that situation.
But that's what I mean. Like Kevin De Bruyne didn't do that. Like at some point, Kevin De Bruyne stopped doing this. Today, the movement, it's not. You don't only get from a player a pass or a cross or something. You might get a small movement that will open everything for his teammates, and they might score goals. And this is what happened today. I thought he started not great, and then after this, on my notes, I said like, yeah, his movement was actually was good. Was back to the Kevin De Bruyne that knows where to be. He picked the ball really, really well. Tried to play Haaland behind the defense. Tried to play Grealish on the left many, many times. He connected the midfield with the forwards. He picked up a really good pockets and spaces between the defense and the midfield. He wasn't great, but he was good. He wasn't the one that he wasn't
Yeah.
one of the bad players at all. This is what I
No,
thought.
the thing is like you got to remember like Kyle Walker also inverting. He was inverting that game, which also leaves Man City vulnerable on the counter attack. That's play into Newcastle hands because they get a lot of their goals on the counter. The way that I saw Man City today is that they deploy a structure where it's normally rigid, more rigid than the others. That's why we've seen kind of vertical switch between the play to Kyle Walker and then to De Bruyne, who was a right centre mid and then goes left wing and then closer to Haaland. So I don't think he was that bad today, but I just think he was a bit quiet though. Didn't expect him to be that quiet, but still, I don't think he was the bad bunch though in that team.
Are we going to talk about Newcastle though? Because I've got some words to say.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Newcastle?
Yeah,
Go on.
because today's losses on Eddie Howe, like for me, like yeah, I get it. Trust your players, you want to phase them out slowly, stuff like that. But you could see what, like, for example, Maximin came on and did. You could see what like Isaac offers. Like I get it. You want to trust Callum Mawson because he scores goals. He's a good finisher, all of that sort of stuff. But when specifically those two players came on, you could see that Man City were like, oh, okay, crap, we've got some questions here to answer. And if they were playing from the beginning, and especially the way that Man City committed numbers forward, I definitely see them getting a goal. I could see Isaac coming in and, getting a goal or potentially finishing one of Callum Mawson's chances off. So Eddie Howe does need to be held a bit accountable for especially their recent form. They're slipping away. They got very lucky. I mean, we're going to talk about Tottenham in a moment, but, they got very, very, very fucking lucky that Tottenham lost because they're going down a slippery slope. And I get it. People didn't expect them to be here. But like any sort of team that's on the up, when you're in them conversations, you kind of have to hold it a little bit. Same with us. If we completely bottle this league title, like let's say, for example, we now lose the league by like 7-8 points, we've got to hold it. It's not about expectations coming into the season. We put ourselves in that position to be in that conversation. So for me, as good as they've done, there are questions that have to be asked. Like the way even United turned them over, they were one of the best defensive sides for a very long time of the season. Now, how they did it, we can all debate that, but they did. They had the best defensive record, and that's slipping away. They're looking very easy to score against. And things need to change, man. There's pressure on Newcastle because they didn't do anything in January. They opted not to. And yeah, man, like that's all I'm going to say. I know people are going to say, but we didn't expect to be here, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. You're there. So you got to be treated like one of those kind of teams in the top six. We've done it with Leicester. We laughed at Leicester for doing it. We laughed at West Ham for bottling it as well. So Newcastle shouldn't get a free pass just because they weren't meant to be here.
They can't seem to score. They can't seem to score, and they try to bring in Anthony Gordon to fix that, which is a crazy move. By any. I mean, Chelsea. I'm so disappointed you guys didn't get him. Because I thought he was going to you guys, but if you're needing goals, I don't think Gordon is the guy. I just don't believe that, and I think you're starting to see if Liverpool win tomorrow, for how much of shambles we've been, we take over Newcastle, in the race for top four, and nobody would have saw that coming in. Yeah, because you have to ask whether it was an Eddie Howe sign-in or it was a director of football sign-in or a transfer committee sign-in. But that Anthony Gordon sign-in is a bit of a. It's one to raise questions.
I think it's a good player.
I think it's just they defended very narrow out of possession and they're trying to clock that midfield, which then forcing Man City to play out wide because they have that lot of people in that midfield. So it's a tactical. It's not a bad tactics by Howe, but I just think. I think it's the personal that it's not right for him.
Let's talk about
No, but
Chelsea
Curtis,
then.
you make a
I
good
know
point.
you guys
because-
want to talk about I know you want to talk about Newcastle, but to be honest, I believe in Newcastle. I don't think they're gonna do anything. I don't actually think they're gonna make the top 6 now, because I think Liverpool are gonna catch up. I think Brighton might catch up with them. To be honest, yeah, people are
Oh
sleeping.
yeah, I would like.
I
Yeah,
think
Amex in the
Brighton.
like in the Europa. Come on.
I think
Brighton
Newcastle
3
maintain
points
top
behind with a
6.
game in hand.
I think Brighton might. Look, I'm looking at Brighton, and then 4-0 against West Ham today, like smashing them. They're turning into a machine, scoring machine. But let's talk
Yeah,
about.
you know what? All the home teams won today. Not even away teams win
Yeah.
today.
Bournemouth, that close, man. That close. Well, let's talk about Chelsea then. Let's turn into Fatur. Listen, my man. I want to get first of all, Alhambra super chat is here, and I'm just gonna make it like just to see actually right here. Alhambra saying congratulate to Graham Pulis. He's saying on our first and only win of 2023. So happy we can do a Marsh goal of the month competition. Contract extension straight after the game. Termination clauses now relegation. Alhambra, thank you for the super chat. Is a great super chat. To be honest, it's astonishing that your Chelsea fans are celebrating a 1-0 win against Leeds at home. Leeds haven't won, I think, in 17 games or something. It's astonishing to me. And yet you missed 2 chances, yes, but I think Leeds had their chances as well. It could have been the other way around. You were in the stadium, and you tell me.
By the way, people, it's a first win in 44 days, first goal in more than a month, and it fills tears to my eyes that thank you Allah for this pray. And
The win's a win.
yes, people,
You've
we have
been
now.
fasting, but you've been fasting before Ramadan, brother. You've been
Kinda.
fasting before Ramadan.
Mate, I've been fasting before Ramadan. I've been even pray for this a lot, to be fair. Hey, do you know what? Yeah, Mo's right, and we have now missed 7 of the last 7 big chances, including the 2 in the first half, and you can't generally write this up. And for the first 30 minutes, the change to the back 3 helps a lot. And what impressed me the most from this game is that the way that we press was very aggressive, and the Enzo was involved in that kind of press that you had one of the back 3 stepping out to close down the 3 men between the lines, and also to brought the flanks into play, and that switched into the Chilwell that causing a lot of issue for the Leeds. And Loftus-Cheek, you have to give him a bit of credit as well. That's because he was underlapping in that sense to allow Sterling 1v1. And the ideas are good, but our problem has always been maintaining a strong second half. So this is going to be a massive test for everyone that involved. And for me, what Chelsea fans go through right now is like when the cross comes into the box and then Kepa start looking at it, it's like UFO. It's like I will never wish on anyone. But the problem is that even if we even know how to play for the most of the first, for example, for the first half, like we did before the change today, at least just convert some chances. We need to win this game and to build some sort of momentum. And you know what? It ended up in a scrappy, especially after the goal. The substitution, again, the game management by Potter doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why on earth he put 6 midfielders and 3-6-1 formation that midfield? I just don't get it. And it's just that we need to build on it. And
I'm just responding to a comment. Don't worry about me.
Bro, our fan base have been so hypocritical because on this game alone, like we play well, but our fan base would think like, oh, results all that matter. But when we play poor in the last half hour today, and we won, it's like we won, but the manager wasn't good enough today. So I understand that in that sense, but
is that good or bad that you won? Okay, be honest. It's not gonna make a
just
difference
to
in
follow
your
up.
season.
Just to follow up from that, yeah. Just follow up from your question is that on this race is overly negative because I completely understand the need to be pragmatic, but I equally don't understand why that has to take the form of a front 3 of Gallagher and Havertz and Chukwuemeka. I felt like we were our own worst enemies today after taking the lead, but understandably a lot of anxiety, but I don't think the substitution helped as we willingly give up our momentum. it felt like a sideways dodge rather than step forward.
Anybody want to talk about Chelsea? Because I actually want Chelsea to lose just for that model to fail, the buying players to fail, and I've been very vocal about this. Uh, Being an Inter fan, I don't like this amount of purchase that Chelsea are doing. However, if today if I was a Chelsea fan, it's
should
gonna
love
sound
Chelsea.
it's gonna sound very
You should
strange.
love Chelsea in that Lukaku deal.
Yeah, we still have him.
You should
I
love
think
it. You got 100 million from him, and then got him back a year later. You should love Chelsea.
one
Well,
thing I
Birmingham.
wanted to ask something today about Chelsea. I
Yeah.
think Chelsea's best thing was to fire Graham Potter and get someone, a caretaker. Maybe you might get a European spot. I think
Mhm.
the football you play today is not great at all.
No.
I don't see any identity, and I see this is a blip and this is a fluke as a win. And if you had a chance, okay, you still have a chance to go against Dortmund, but I think your chances would be much bigger if you had a new coach bounce, a new manager's bounce. And I think today's win, it's kind of like not, yes, it's a win, 3 points. Is that going to make your season better? I don't think so. But I think this will extend Graham Potter's, chances of staying, and there's going to be more patience from Toboli. Now you won today. I think this is how I saw the game today, to be honest.
Absolutely, and I feel like you're right because we got Dortmund on Tuesday, and he's literally taking a gamble on the most open UCL season ever in the history. And if we get knocked out, there's no point of sacking Potter anymore because we're going to be stuck with him for the rest of the season.
Inshallah, you're stuck with him forever. Inshallah.
Astaghfirullah. I hope not.
Do you know what the main question that Chelsea fans need to be asking now? Maybe you guys know the answer. I haven't come across it.
Mhm.
Who the hell is making these signings? Whose decision is it? Because to me, I know Mo's got the money agenda. I don't really care. I spend $1 billion. I really don't care. I just want to know who the hell's approving these signings. Because if it's solely Todd Bowley, then this model is doomed. Not because I don't think he's got ball knowledge or anything like that, but because he is literally wanting to make the club in his vision, and that's
It's
not how you win football
Souls,
anymore.
it's America. This is how football and baseball work in America. The owners, the GMs are the ones who run the coach are on the pitch.
Which is why I feel like it doesn't matter who you bring in then, because there's not going to be many managers, especially in the modern game. Like even Pep, Klopp, Arteta. Arteta actually went from first team coach or head coach to manager for that reason, and that's when he got control of like transfers and who he wanted to bring in. To me, the bigger question's got to be whether Bowley's the right man for you guys, and not whether you can bring a manager in. Because if all you're going to do is shift the blame to another person, Graham Potter goes, let's say you bring in another manager, he doesn't get the signings he wants, and Bowley's like, here you go, lad, you've got £600 million worth of players, make it work. And what's he done? He signed 10 attackers. You're like, well, where's my defenders?
Dude, I don't get this.
Just
Souls.
attack and win.
Do you know
Just
what?
I think we're
win.
being
I don't
harsh.
get
I
this.
think we're being harsh.
I don't get this. Why every manager has to get a brand new 11 players to work
No,
with?
they don't. My point isn't they have to get a brand new 11. My point is there are in the modern game, if we're looking at the top managers right in world football right now, they're only at the top because they got who they wanted. That's
But
just
not
how
a whole
football is.
11. But not. I'm sure he wanted Joao
Doesn't-
Felix. He wanted the
Yeah, but
Padishili.
okay, Klopp started competing properly once pretty much he shifted the 11. Pep pretty much got an 11 before he started properly competing, or he got a spine of players that were his. He shifted and forced a lot of players out as well. So the thing is, even elite managers are going to need their style of plays. If you've got for example, Barcelona is the model I'll use for now, but from Pep to Luis Enrique to this manager to this manager, they've all got the same ideas, so you don't need an 11. They can come in and just continue where it left off. But the problem that you have is when you've got like what Chelsea have been doing, sacking, hiring, it's built up to an accumulation of who the fuck do we bring in to make this jigsaw come together that's got 5 different jigsaw puzzles mixed in together and go, here you go, just build it, and there's pieces missing. That's what Chelsea have done. It's going to take time. So that's for me why I'm that's why I'm questioning who's the guy that's sitting there and going, what's the philosophy? What do we want Chelsea Football Club to be known for? Attacking football, defensive football, just something. Make a philosophy and go from there. Because right now it's just like a machine gun tactic. Will just go buy. Okay, just make it work.
Before you answer this,
if we go to that yes man road, like we're going to sing regardless. That's the issue.
Before we answer this, I want to get Alhambra super chat as well. Thank you so much for the support super chat. He say Todd Bowley means well, but he will destroy the fabric of Chelsea. Fans' expectations won't budge, and no PR can change it. Ownership could quickly become disliked. I don't think he can dislike Todd Bowley if he's buying all these players and getting someone like everybody likes, like Graham Potter. Everybody likes Graham Potter. Everybody,
I don't know, man. I've seen people turning on Bowley that quick, you know.
But
Yeah,
why? Based on what, guys? Someone answer me. But why?
Yeah, I'm surprised with that because, and I might have this wrong, but maybe there'll be Chelsea fans in the comments and on here who know a bit better. But I thought that Todd Bowley, along with Graham Potter, brought in a lot of the Brighton recruitment team, and then he brought in the director of football in Leipzig, and now he's brought in someone else, I think from Man City, who was previously at Man City, now he's at Southampton, and now he's going to be joining. So, I'm wondering why everybody thinks that this January window was all Todd Bowley when he's brought in the Brighton recruitment team and the director of football. I feel like we're in very, very early stages with Chelsea, and I feel like actually Graham Potter and any manager who goes in there now is between now and May has got a pretty impossible job because they've got a squad of 30 players. There's going to be different motivations in there. Some players won't be in Champions League squads. Some players aren't even in the Premier League squad. Trying to do trainer sessions in that kind of, that whole kind of coaching environment, it almost seems impossible. So I feel like I'm surprised that people, I'm not surprised because of the results, but I'm surprised that people are really, thinking that Graham Potter just getting rid of him is going to be like the answer to this. I think whatever manager they get in, and at the moment it's Graham Potter, they need to be given a long process to be able to sort this squad out, because it's almost unprecedented to bring in this many players in at this point in the season, and then I don't know why anybody expected differently to just get cohesive team performances and then results off the back. This was always how it was going to be, bringing in this many players.
Yeah, but my problem, Sam, is there is no identity.
It's not going to be.
No identity, Sam.
Yeah, there won't be. There won't be. How can there be identity a month after the window shuts when you brought in 8 players off the back of buying another 5 players in the summer? That's like 12, 13
that's
players,
where the problem
plus
is.
the mix of the other managers and players as well, plus the new director of football, plus all the new technical staff, plus all the new coaching staff. How is anybody expected to have any sort of identity when the entire staff of the club, top to bottom, boardroom, coach, scouts, team, players, everything is different to 6 months ago? How can there be any sort of continuity in that time? It's going to take months.
No, but that's my problem with them. Why did they go and buy 8 players when they knew this? Everyone knows when you buy 8 players and you've got no preseason, you've got no friendlies that you can play. There's no sort of international, like a major international. Like, let's say, for example, World Cup happened after January. I totally get it. You bought 8 players in because you can give that World Cup break for these players to gel. But the problem that you have is mid-season, you've panicked basically. You've gone, yo, we need to get anything we can get through the door. You want to join? Yeah, you come in. What do you do for a living? Cleaning? Yeah, you come join the team as well. That's the problem. They've just gone and got everything rather than sitting there and going, let's bring in 3 players, right? Let's just build on what we have, get them gelled in. Then we go in the summer and we really bolster the squad up. Now, where I do agree, where it's not Todd Bowley's fault, Graham Potter needs to be a man. Let's be honest. He needs to go to that squad and go, you're in the reserves. You're in the reserves. You're in the reserves. You're going to be training separately. You're going to be training separately. You're not in my plans. You're getting sold in the summer. So he's trained with the under-21s. This is my 25-man squad, and this is where my focus is going to be. That's what he actually needs to do, because when you've got an overinflated squad, if there's like trouble with the players and the players are being disruptive, then you go to your top man, Todd Bowley, and go, what are you going to do about it? Are we just going to terminate their contracts? And yeah, cool. That's what he needed to do. He needed to go in there with a bit of a backbone and go, you 10 players, or how many excessive players they've got, you're not in my plans. But the other problem is bringing 8 players was always going to do this. So why did they do it? Because if you're being smart and if you're being a club that's trying to be well run and trying to actually succeed, you wouldn't go and get 8 players. You would have gone, okay, these are our top 3 targets. Let's bring them in, let them gel, let them do their thing, because there's no point disrupting the team. We're already in a shit position. Let's not make it shitter. And that's what they've done.
I think the problem is more in the training than in games, and he's having to delegate time to having meetings to try and keep happy and talking about his tactics to these senior players who probably don't even care, while taking time away from more important younger players. And the problem is this, is that he has unlimited freedom to lose games. He thinks that he has to win every game and acts accordingly. He continues to lose anyway. And losing with young players is a project, but losing with old players, senior players, is a misery. And with the amount of backing that he has now, technically he can exclude some senior players if he wants to, but he can be hard-nosed by if he wants to. And you can argue it's even like having 33 players in training won't lead to anything. It's literally a ridiculous. And
It's a football academy now. It's like a kids academy. Serious. You know, when you have the kids academy and you have like 5 coaches, each one has 5 players.
I think he's out of his depth.
The worst part about it is
so
that he
out of
doesn't
depth.
know what he wants to do.
Yes.
Changing and chopping and changing every game has no solid game plan. It's like we can't just slap the word project over everything. That's the issue, the bottom line issue about
I
it.
swear to God, you're 100% correct. But anyway, guys, we're going to go for like 2 minutes to just do things. We can just sit here for 2 minutes and laugh at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Oh dear, what happened to that game? I didn't watch it.
Okay, so that game is kind of strange because I know. I just want to like say that actually I was watching it. I was watching the 3 games on 3 screens, and every time I'm looking at the Tottenham game, they were pressing. They had a chance. They had 18 shots, and Wolves had 1 shot, and Wolves scored or target. It was astonishing, to be honest. Son played well, and then they still lost. I think they're very lucky that Newcastle actually lost today, and they're dropping points. But everybody should watch out from Liverpool from behind. They're going to be dangerous, especially if the performances look like this from Tottenham and Newcastle. I don't have a Tottenham supporter today. Danny is out of town and other people are not available. But if anybody want to talk about Spurs, I think they will get knocked out by Milan. And we're all going to just sit here and say, okay, another season gone by, a new coach, and you're not winning trophies. And they're going to be dropped from the top 6. That's my belief. I think Newcastle next year are going to take the spot. I'm not sure if anybody else have a different opinion than this, because I think Newcastle are going to invest, and Newcastle can be the Man City if they get the right coach, if they get the right structure. I think they can be Man City. And if I'm looking around and seeing who's going to be kicked out of the top 6, I'm seeing Tottenham Hotspur, to be honest.
I still have no idea how we lose to that lot last week, honestly. They were...
Graham Potter's your manager.
Have you seen them against Sheffield United the other day? That was terrible.
They're atrocious.
This one.
They were under pressure. Again, it's Sheffield United, a championship team. It's astonishing. But anyway, I have a football game in an hour, and I need to drive to the field. So I want to thank everybody that is here. It has been absolutely an amazing show, guys, today. I know we're going like a little bit over an hour. So thank you, Gunnar Souls. Congratulations. Congratulations, Sam, for the win. Kurdish, good luck tomorrow. I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, but I believe. I predicted 2-1 to Man United, but I slept and I woke up and I thought Liverpool might win this, like this at the one against Man City.
2-2 draw. 2-2 draw.
Fatur, I'm glad you enjoyed the game at Stamford Bridge finally. I know you guys spend a lot of money to go to these games. You spend a lot of money to go behind after the team, and I don't wish this on anybody. However, when your club spends 600 billion and ruin the market, may long it continue. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for the super chat. Thank you for the members. Thanks for all the subscribers in our channel. Make sure to hit that like button on your way out. That helps us massively. If you haven't, check it. It's underneath your live chat. Thank you so much everybody for being here, and thanks to all my guests. And tomorrow 12 p.m. arrivals with the shameless lot, and also call-in show. Make sure to check the description. Be a member to get priority in the call-in show. 9 o'clock tomorrow. We don't know the lineups, but thank you so much for everybody that is being here. We appreciate you, and thank you for all my guests, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.